going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. All right, I've got a good one. This is Judge Elmore out of Michigan, and we've got ourselves a trailer park brawl. And I am amazed with how well this defendant remembers almost every detail about this. I believe him. I'm going to say that right now. I believe him. I don't think that he's just telling a story. I think if this actually happened this way, and I think the judge does too. And you can kind of see that by his ruling at the end of this. But we're in court right now. He's trying to take a plea deal for a fight that happened inside of his mobile home. All right. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
All right, we're taking up next the case of State of Michigan versus Hunter Zalzman. Case number 24-3549. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. David Howard on behalf of the people. Can please the court, Your Honor, Patrick Cherry on behalf of Mr. Zalzman, who appears to my left.
We are here today for a pre-trial conference. We conducted that briefly in chambers a bit ago. And counsel informed me that we had, they intended to enter trial agreement plea. Mr. Denham.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that Mr. Zalzman will be accepting the people's offer, which is to plead guilty to count 2, assault with a dangerous weapon, as well as an added count 4, assault and battery with respect to Page. Also, as part of this agreement, although not a Killebrew agreement, so the court would not be limited, but it is understood that the people will not advocate for upfront incarceration at the time of sentencing. In exchange, also, the people will be dismissing counts 1 and 3. In addition, the weapon involved, which is a Sears 20 gauge rifle, will be forfeited to a person by the name of Zachary Zalzman, with the understanding that that person qualifies, for example, does not have a prior felony record. And that, I believe, is the extent of the agreement here.
All right. Yeah. Tell me you don't understand firearms without telling me you don't understand firearms. He just called some type of firearm a 20 gauge rifle. Now, I'm not a firearm expert by any means, but that doesn't sound right.
All right, Mr. Cherry, is that a complete and accurate statement of the pre-trial agreement?
It is, Your Honor, although the characterization of the sentencing, if the people were to ask for incarceration at the time of sentencing, I do believe it would meet in terms of being able to withdraw the plea from Mr. Zalzman. I don't anticipate that would happen. I just want to make sure we're all
Well, that's not what he
clear
said.
on that.
Well, that's not what he said. So let's take just a brief
Right.
recess here in place and let you talk to Mr. Denham. Before I go into that, does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so he scores an intermediate sanction cell almost no matter what. And if he doesn't have any priors, it means he hasn't been on probation in the past.
Correct.
Which means he hasn't been able to fail probation, which is good. So,
Correct.
yeah.
I'm not sure what I said.
He said, by the way,
It's not a Killebrew.
yeah.
Oh, so it's a Killebrew in the sense that I would not be advocating for upfront incarceration.
Yeah, that's
It's
different.
It's okay. So if there's a misunderstanding in the terms of what I meant to say, it's not a Killebrew with respect to the court, Your Honor.
Okay, well, let's see here. So, I'm sorry, 1 second. Let me take a look at the charge. Count 2 is assault with a dangerous weapon. That involves a person whose last name is Kavanaugh. And I suspect Mr. Kavanaugh would be making some kind of statement, or there would be some kind of aggravation presented. I don't know. If I'm going to get a report that talks about, and I know what you guys told me in the chambers, there could be an injury. Plus, by the way, it's a intermediate sanction cell. However, it is an assaultive crime, which means that restriction or presumption of no jail no longer applies. So it is kind of important because theoretically, if this Mr. Kavanaugh does appear, or the probation or parole office includes in the PSI, or there's any presentation to the court about the amount of damage that involved, like I understood it may have cracked the skull. Those things are going to be taken into consideration, and there could be jail. I don't know. I'm just saying, I know nothing else about it other than what I've just said.
To make it clear, the killabrew is that the people will not request jail at the time of sentencing. Not that the court can't order it, just that they won't request it.
I don't really know if that's a killer rule, but
It's an agreement between
Yeah,
the
it's an
prosecutor and the
agreement.
defendant.
yeah, I got it. I understand. All right. So here we go. Mr. Zalzman, have you heard what the attorneys have described to me as a pretrial agreement?
All right, Judge was just dotting his I's and crossing his T's there. The prosecutor did bring up a Killebrew agreement, which I think, as you guys just figured out, is kind of an agreement with all the parties that when a plea is given by the defendant, there won't be any jail time. Some courts allow that, some courts don't allow that. I don't know why he had to drop that term. He could have just said, I'm not going to be advocating for jail because of this plea. He didn't have to say Killebrew. I think that kind of confused the record there.
Yes,
All right. And is that how you wish to resolve it?
yes,
All right, please raise your right hand. Or affirm that the information and testimony you're about to provide shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir.
yes, sir.
You may lower your hand. Mrs. Alsman, I'd like to highlight for everybody, because I've learned my lesson. You've just taken an oath to tell the truth. That means everything you tell me has to be the truth, and I'm going to treat it as the truth.
Yes, sir.
If for some reason you were to later come back and say, well, I didn't really mean that, what I said wasn't the truth, that means today would have been a lie. And in a courtroom, what do we call it when you lie?
I don't remember.
That's all right, perjury,
Perjury.
which, by the way, is a criminal offense. And depending on the type of perjury, it actually carries a maximum punishment higher than the offense that you're pleading to.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure today that, and I want you to know, I don't know you, so I have no reason to think you're not going to tell me the truth. I'm just making it really important, or highlighting its importance. All right. Mr. Zalzman, we're going to go over that pretrial agreement. And I already know we've talked about this just briefly, but I'm just going to confirm. Back on October 13th of this year, were you on probation or parole at that time?
No,
Were you on bond pending any felony charges anywhere at that time?
no,
Now, it says here on this piece of paper, which is called the felony information. So it's also basically just a charging document, and it charges you with 3 criminal offenses. Count 1 is assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, or by strangulation. That's a felony punishable by up to 10 years and or up to $5,000. I'm told that count will be dismissed. Count 2 is a charge of assault with a dangerous weapon. Count 3 is also a charge of assault with a dangerous weapon. It just happens to be that count 2 involves that person whose name is Caleb Kavanaugh. And count 3 involves an alleged victim named Paige, Payge, Knudson, Knudson. Both of those are felonies punishable by up to 4 years and or up to $2,000. I'm told that you're going to plead guilty to count 2, again, which involves Caleb Kavanaugh, and that count 3 will be dismissed as well. I'm also told that you're going to plead guilty to an added count 4, which does not yet appear on this felony information. That added count 4 would be for a assault and battery, which is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or up to $500. Is that what you understood so far, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, there are a couple other terms of this pretrial agreement, and I see them here on this written pretrial agreement form that the attorneys have provided to me, and it appears to have your signature. The first term is that the people agree not to advocate, which means request, incarceration at sentence. That's strictly the selection of the sentence is up to me. But if Mr. Denhouten were to come in and then say, hey, judge, we really want you to give him 60 days or 90 days or 100 days in jail, you would have the right to withdraw your plea. As long as he comes back and doesn't advocate for jail, but if I even give you jail, you're stuck with it.
Yes, sir.
All right, but if he does come and ask for it, then you have the right to withdraw your plea. All right. Also, there's an agreement that the firearm, which apparently was used as the weapon, and in other words, that as I understood that you allegedly struck the individual, will be, and it's a 20 gauge shotgun. It's just, or sorry, a 20 gauge rifle. I think it, all right. I think it means shotgun, but that will be forfeited, which means taken away from you, but given to some other person named Zachary Zalzman. Who is Zachary?
Zachary is my younger brother. The gun technically it belongs to him. I was holding on to it for the moment for him because where he's living, he couldn't have it.
Okay.
He has since then moved from the area, and it is a family heirloom. It was my father's shotgun before.
Okay.
That is the only reason I requested it not to be taken.
All right. Well, apparently it will be taken or forfeited from you and then given to Mr. Zalzman, which, by the way, it's kind of a mulligan stew of words because he already owns it, allegedly. So anyways, you understand?
Yes.
All right. Now, by entering a plea of guilty, you will not have a trial of any kind. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And by entering a plea of guilty, if this court accepts that plea, we'll be waiving certain rights. Now, those rights are here on this piece of paper that I'm now holding up and that was provided to me by your attorney. Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir, it is.
Did you read through these rights before signing?
Yes, I did.
Do you understand them?
Yes.
And again, even more importantly, do you understand that if you plead guilty and I accept that plea, then you will be waiving those rights?
Yes, sir.
Additionally, if the plea is accepted, you will be given up the right to claim that the plea was a result of any promises, threats, or inducements that you don't tell me about now on the record. Have there been any other threats or promises or inducements to force or compel you to plead guilty?
Nope.
Okay. And are you making this plea of your own free choice?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's this conversation we had a little bit ago about sentencing. And, excuse me, I trust that Mr. Cherry has probably talked to you about the sentencing guidelines. In fact, I know he has because I see it on this form that you guys all signed. And at the bottom, there's an estimated guidelines of 0 to 6 months for the minimum end of the sentence.
Yes, sir.
Did you go over all that with them?
Yes.
All right. Now, the key phrase here on this piece of paper says it's estimated. Do you understand that there's no promise as to what the sentence will actually be?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Is still your desire to enter the plea of guilty to count 2 and added count 4?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. As to count 2, assault with a dangerous weapon upon a person named Caleb Patrick Morris Kavanaugh, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And as to added count 4, a simple assault and battery upon Paige Knutson, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Before the court can accept that plea, it must have you tell me what it is that you guilty of that offense. So we're going to turn your attention to October 13th in 2024 out in Caldwell Township here in Missaukee County. Mr. Zalzman, What happened? Were you living out there at that, looks like on Blodgett Road?
It's technically my property.
Okay,
It belongs to my father. I am paying off back taxes. So I am inheriting the property.
and is there a home on there? I thought I heard
Yes,
somebody.
there
Okay.
is a home. There's also 3 other campers on the property that belong to me. And then there is another one that belongs to my brother, Ricky Zalzman. And then Caleb and Paige also had a camper out there. It has since then been removed.
All right, so I'm gonna go over that. How many acres is this parcel of property? Do you know?
6.5 acres.
So there's a home, correct?
Yep, a home, a pole barn, and multiple campers.
And then you told me there were 3 campers that you owned, correct? Then 1 owned by Ricky.
Yep.
And then the 4th or 5th one is actually owned by, or was owned by, Mr. Kavanaugh and Ms. Knudsen.
Yes,
And Mr. Kavanaugh and Ms. Knudsen, where they were living in that camper or staying in it back in October?
yes, they were staying in the camper.
All right, so now that I've got a good idea of what this parcel of property is like in the living situation, were the campers all, I'm sorry, let me ask this, were the campers all together?
Kind of in a big U shape.
All right, so,
Caleb's and Paige's were sitting on the edge of the thing next to the power line. Then my camper was right next to theirs. And then I had 2 other campers adjacent from that one.
okay, got it. So they're all kind of in the same spot, not scattered out across the 6 acres.
Nope.
Okay, so now I've got a pretty good idea, a picture in my mind of what this looks like. Did this event occur morning, evening, afternoon? Give me an idea what time of day.
Around probably midnight.
Okay, so what happened at midnight on that evening, sir?
There was a verbal altercation between me, Caleb, and Paige.
Did that occur outside?
Yes.
Okay, so then what happened?
Some things were said, got pretty heated.
Mhm.
I got into a physical altercation with my brother-in-law, Rudy Baldwin.
Okay, was Mr. Baldwin residing out there or using one of the
No,
campers?
no, he just come over to hang out.
Okay,
After that, I left to go to my camper, and Paige continued to follow me to my camper. Wanted to beat on my camper door. Somehow my door got opened. They yanked Leanne out of the camper by her hair.
yeah, hold on. Who yanked who out of the camper?
Paige,
Paige yanked who?
Leanne out of the camper.
And who is Leanne in relationship to this year?
She is my girlfriend. She
Okay.
is the one who was staying on the property with me.
All right, so you and Leanne was in the camper while you were outside having this argument with Paige and Caleb, correct?
Yes.
Then you returned to the camper,
Yes.
right? And did you make it into the camper?
Yes, I did.
And it sounds like the door was closed.
Yep.
So at that time, there's both you and Leanne inside the camper
And 2 children,
and 2 children. How old are the children?
12 and 15.
So now Paige comes to the camper in which you are in with Leanne and the 2 children,
Yes.
and then she starts knocking or pounding on the door.
She starts beating on the door, screaming at me. She's trying to yank my door open.
Okay,
Somehow the front door manages to get open.
all right.
While she is beating on the door, I was standing inside with said 20 gauge, and I had warned her multiple times that if she entered my house or got anywhere near me, that I was gonna open fire.
And so you were actually living in this camper with
Yes.
Leanne? Okay. All right, so this is your dwelling
Yeah.
and Paige,
All right. Before we get further into this story, this sounds 100% like self-defense. I don't know if Michigan has a castle doctrine, but I mean, he retreated to his home. He's not the one pursuing the people that are arguing. He retreated and they pursued him. I'm telling you, this doesn't sound like a plea he should be taking.
then what happens?
The front door manages to get opened.
Are there 2 doors in this camper?
No, there's only one,
Okay,
just the one main door.
all right.
The front door gets yanked open. Leanne stepped in front of me.
Mhm.
to obviously prevent me from shooting. 'Cause
Okay, I got it. Sorry. Leanne steps in front of you, so you
When
don't
the door-
discharge the firearm. All right, so then what happens?
Paige yanked Leanne out of the camper,
All right,
and Paige and Caleb got on top of Leanne.
all right, so. When Leanne steps in front of you with the shotgun, how are you holding the shotgun? You're
At,
pointing it down the
at
ground?
first, I was like this. When she stepped in front of me, I dropped it down.
Okay. All right, copy that. So then when Leanne does that, is she facing you?
Yes.
All right.
She
so-
is facing me. She was trying to stop me from hurting them.
Okay.
In all reality, because I was trying to protect my home.
So Leanne at that time sounds like she had her back toward Paige,
Paige, yes,
and then Paige grabs Leanne.
by the hair and yanked her down the stairs.
All right.
At that point,
Down the stairs, you mean outside, out from the camper to the outdoors.
yes,
Then what happens?
Paige got on top of Leanne and Caleb got on top of Paige.
Caleb got on top, Paige on top of Leanne. All right, sounds like turtles all the way down. All right, so now what happens?
I then yelled multiple times for Caleb and Paige to get off of Leanne.
Okay.
Paige,
And so when Caleb was on top of Paige, what was he doing to Paige?
I'm not 100% sure. It happened really fast, Your Honor.
Okay, copy. So you're trying to, all right, so what do you do again?
I requested multiple times for Caleb and Paige to get off of Leanne.
What were they doing to Leanne while they were, if anything, while they were on top of Leanne?
Oh,
If you know.
I'm not 100% sure. I can't tell you.
What was Leanne? Were they just sitting on top of her going?
No, they were attacking her.
All right, so somehow they were attacking her. Did you, what was Leanne doing at the time?
Leanne was trying to get out from underneath Paige.
Was she on her back, on her stomach, on her
I
side?
do believe she was on her back.
Okay, was Leanne saying anything to you while this occurred?
She was yelling at Paige to get off of her.
All right, so, and what was Paige saying or doing at this time? If you could tell. Let me
Paige
break.
did not say anything.
Okay,
Paige bit me in the leg
okay.
multiple times. I have a scar in the side of my leg. She
Mhm.
bit Leanne multiple times, yanked Leanne's hair out.
Okay.
She bit me in my hand. She kicked me twice.
Okay, keep going. So then what did you do? Oh, so wait, hold on. I'm sorry, I jumped to that question too quickly. What was Caleb doing?
From my memory, Caleb was yelling at Paige.
Do you remember what he was yelling at Paige?
No,
All right.
no, that's what he was yelling at her, was just Paige, no,
Okay, oh, I understand. All right,
repetitively over and over again.
all right, so I got a pretty good picture in my mind about what's going on. Then what happened? What do you do?
I started yelling at both of them to get off. When Paige bit me in my leg, I stuck my hand in her mouth and yanked my leg out of her mouth.
Okay.
So I kind of wedged my fingers in and
Yeah.
yanked my hand off, or my leg out. When I did that, I connected with Caleb's side with my foot.
Okay, so you kicked Caleb in the side.
Yep.
You
It
got
was-
your leg bitten.
Well, that was because of my leg getting bitten. I yanked my foot or my leg out of her mouth.
Okay.
And just so happened that Caleb was right there in the pile with it.
Mhm.
I yelled at Caleb at that point specifically. I said, Caleb, you need to get off her. And I said it 3 times and I was yelling it. After the 3rd time, he screamed no at me and put his arm up. I don't know if he was swinging or if he was trying to defend himself or what he was doing, but I took it as a sign of aggression. On top of that, he told me, no, he was not going to get off of Leanne. So at that point, I took it into my own hands to protect her.
And what did you do to protect Leanne?
I took the 20 gauge that was in my hands and I swung it down once as hard as I could.
At who?
at the group.
Okay,
I wasn't aiming for anybody in particular. I just wanted both of them off of Leanne.
okay. And when you swung, give me an idea, how were you standing? Or, I'm sorry, were you standing?
Yes, I was. Can I show you?
Yeah, of course, sir. You go ahead and stand up.
They were over, I was over top of most of them.
All right. Were you straddling them? like
Yes,
you are?
I was straddling them. I was
Okay.
pretty much over top of them.
Mhm.
And when I swing down, I just straight down.
All right, so it looks kind of like you're, now that wasn't like an axe, like you're swinging over your shoulder. You kind of swung it from the side down at
Yep.
him. And how did you swing it at him? Like, I'm sorry, hold on. And to what part of the 20 gauge shotgun were you holding?
I was holding the barrel.
Okay,
So I would have struck them with the butt of the gun, but the butt of the gun broke because it's a breakaway.
okay. And so it's the butt of the gun broke off as it's designed to do
Yep.
when you struck one of the people on the ground.
So the barrel hit Caleb in the head,
The barrel or the butt?
the barrel.
Oh, I thought you were holding the barrel.
I was. The barrel hit Caleb in the head, and because he was up closer to me
Mhm.
and kind of off to the side,
Yep.
the barrel struck him in the head and the butt fell off, kind of launched off, and that is what struck Paige in the head.
Okay. All right. And then what happened? I'm sorry, did you swing once?
Yep, I swung once.
Okay.
After that, I yelled a couple times at Paige
What did you yell to Paige?
that she needed to leave and get off my property because she done attacked me.
Okay.
At that point in time, I did not know she was unconscious. From there, I was going to go get my phone and call the police. But by the time I was walking down, the police were already showing up.
And you said Paige was knocked unconscious?
Yes,
Okay. Now, when you did this swing with the firearm, what was, your intent? Was it to get the two of them off of Leanne?
yes. I had no other intent except for to remove them from on top of her.
Okay,
In my eyes, they were attacking her.
all right. One moment now. Let's take a quick look here at a rule. Just a second, please. So before you swung with the firearm in your hand, which sounds like you were using it more like a bat or a stick than
Yep.
that is the design purpose of a firearm. You weren't shooting at anybody.
Nope.
Okay. So, what was your intent? So, I'm sorry. It sounds like your intent was to get Caleb and Paige to stop assaulting Leanne, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you did that swing movement again with the shotgun, were you intending to cause anyone's death?
No,
All right,
no, my sole cause was just to remove them from her. I did not want to kill either one of them. If I wanted to kill them, I had a gun in my hand. I could have pulled the trigger.
was there a round in it?
No, there was not. My shells were sitting in the shelf right behind me when I
Wow.
was inside.
While you were inside, you
Yes.
had shells on the counter,
Yeah.
but there was not a round inside the chamber.
No,
Okay.
I did not have any intent to kill either one of them.
All right.
The one that was my best friend for 8 years, 9 years.
Was that Caleb?
Caleb. I still see him as a brother, even after everything that has happened. He's family to me. That's the only reason they were on my property living there.
Okay. Now, did you think when you swung that firearm, that's what you needed to do? You needed to do something to get them off her, right?
Yes,
And when before you had swung the fire, did you go back? I'm sorry, that was going to be a compound question. Let me back up. When you exited the camper, did you still have the firearm?
yes, I did.
Did you ever put it down?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Everything happened so fast from when the door opened to us being outside. It's still hard to even process what.
Okay. And you were yelling at.
I think you're doing a great job. You pretty much in detail said exactly what you remember. And I would say that's more than most people would remember in that kind of situation. I still say that this is a very solid self-defense case. I don't know why he was charged and not the other people. Hopefully the other people were charged too. I mean, they broke into the dude's trailer. Yeah, I'm trying to picture why he was charged. Maybe because they had injuries and he didn't. And the police didn't investigate, they just came to the scene and saw that he was holding a gun. The other two people had bruises and marks on them. I have no idea. But this case seems interesting for him to be the one sitting there.
Them to get off work, correct?
Yes,
And so that didn't work.
no,
And did you try to pull? You said earlier you're kind of standing.
I was
Over them.
standing over top of them. Yes, I did try to physically remove Caleb.
So by using your hands?
Yes,
All
I
right, so-
grabbed him by the cuff of his shirt and tried to pull him away.
So words didn't work and physically grabbing them, nonviolent force didn't work. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so the only other thing you could do was to either let them continue to assault her or then increase it to the next thing by hitting her with
Physically
something.
stopping him.
All right. And all right. And again, how many times did you bring that firearm up and then down?
Once. I swung one time.
Okay. What kind of danger did you believe that Leanne was in? What did you think might occur to her based upon what you saw, what you heard, the circumstances?
With everything that was going on in that mind, I thought that our lives were threatened. This isn't the first person Paige is attacked, and it's not the first person she's attacked on my property.
Okay, so
She was supposed to be on a probationary period while this happened for attacking Caleb's mother.
so in your mind, you knew that this person, Paige, had some,
She was already dangerous. I already knew she went off on a short fuse.
so you had some knowledge about her aggressiveness from before, correct?
Yes,
Now, what about Caleb? I know you say you've known him for a long time.
I have known Caleb for a long time. He grew up in the streets, raised around gang members. I know he has a violent past. Did I ever think he would be violent towards me? No.
Okay, all right.
And they also get into physical altercations every morning. That's what this fight was actually about. I asked them to stop the physical altercations in the morning so I could go hunting.
Okay. And we say they, you mean?
Caleb
Paige.
and Paige.
All right. All right, well, I think the attorneys know where I'm gonna go.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I just
that's-
asked to pre-try the case today.
Yeah, that's, now, Mr. Zalzman, I can't accept your plea today, and that's okay. I don't want you to think that I can't accept it because of something that you did wrong.
Okay.
Again, everything that I've heard today sounds like, number one, Paige broke into a home. You had the right to defend yourself in the home. And once you came in, you had a firearm in your possession. You didn't actually use it, but you probably would have had the right to potentially use it there because she broke into the home. Then she pulled somebody from inside to the outside and started attacking her. And then Mr. Caleb got on top. Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know what the police report has to say, right? Because there's always two sides to every
Yes, sir.
saga. I don't know. But everything I've heard today so far says there is no way a crime was committed based upon what your version of the facts is. Now, again, I don't know what everyone else was going to say. That's not my job to make a ruling as to the credibility of any witnesses or, putting up two sides of the case. But at least as what I've heard today, the court cannot accept a plea today. Therefore, the court will consider today's plea. Will consider today simply as a pretrial. The court does not enter any findings of guilt or any findings of any kind other than the court cannot accept a guilty plea, and that the case will continue on the court's docket as set for a final pretrial conference. Mr. Cherry, are there any discovery issues that I need to be made aware of?
No discovery issue, but there has been a change that I believe would change the conditions of bond. So when the court's ready for that, I'll make that argument.
All right, go ahead.
So as Mr. Zalzman outlined, Caleb and Paige are no longer residing on the property located at 5350 North Blodgett Road. Back in October, Judge Ransom placed a GPS tether for house arrest to a different address, along with a no contact order to that address, which are terms T and U.
I'm sorry. One moment. I'm looking for it.
Yep, it was October 14th.
What are those terms, T and U?
T is do not enter the following specified premises, which is no contact at 5350 North Blodgett Road.
Okay.
And that's Mr. Zalzman's property where Paige and Caleb were previously residing. I confirmed with the prosecutor. The prosecutor reached out and confirmed they're no longer residing there.
All right.
And term U is a GPS tether with house arrest to the address of 10801 West Walker Road, which is where Mr. Zalzman has been residing while on this no contact provision.
Mm-hmm.
We're requesting that terms T and U be removed and all the other terms of bond continue.
All right. Mr. Denham.
Your Honor, with respect to the property, opposing counsel is correct that we did confirm that the individuals, both Paige and Caleb, are no longer residing there, so we have no objection to removing that provision. We would ask that all other provisions remain.
Mr. Zalzman, are you employed?
Yes, I am.
And where is it?
I work at Michigan Rubber,
Okay,
Jing Dong Rubber Products in Cadillac.
sure. All right. The court will modify the bond by removing the term or condition that's listed at T on the terms and conditions of bond that were set on October 14th, 2024 by Judge Ransom. Therefore, he is allowed to have contact and go back to the residence, the real property of 5350 North Blodgett Road up in Manton. As to term U, the court will remove the term that he is to be tethered to the address of 10810 West Walker Road in Manton. One moment. Mr. Oh, hold on. So, Mr. Zalzman, do you report to work over in Cadillac or over here in Misaki County? Isn't? Sorry, where do you work physically?
I work in Cadillac.
All right, thank you. And what time of day do you go to work?
What time of day?
Yes, sir.
I leave from where I'm at now about 2:15, 2:30
AM or PM?
PM. I'm supposed to be there by 3. I work from 3 to 11.
And do you have transportation?
Yeah, I own my own vehicle.
All right, thank you. One moment.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yep, go ahead.
We discussed it briefly before, but I feel at this juncture, it's important to point out, Mr. Zalzman has no criminal history.
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead. Anything else?
Tight connections to the town. There haven't been any incidents over the last month. And the house arrest requirement, I think, is overly broad given the circumstances. So I'm asking, and the cost of the GPS itself.
The court also recognizes in the complaint and affidavit provided by the deputy to Judge Ransom indicates that there was some level of intoxication. Mr. Denoughton, was there a PBT of any sort taken of Mr. Zalzman at the time? It's okay. Here's what I'm going to do. The court's going to withdraw the GPS tether. You can take that, you can go over to community corrections and have that removed. However, or wherever they take the ears off. However, the court will add a term of condition that you're not to use alcohol or consume any alcohol and be subject to random testing. This court does its testing at community corrections, which is located in the courthouse in Wexford County.
In Cadillac.
Yep. And that's why I asked about where you're employed and your ability to drive over there to Wexford County. That my tests are random. Some the district courts tend to do them on once a month or once a week, no more than once a week. Mine are purely random. You can be tested once a month, 8 times a month, or 0 times a month. It's all done by a computer program. So when you go over to have your tether, after your tether's removed, you're then going to go to community corrections and be placed upon random testing. And again, all the other terms and conditions remain in effect. I'm going to highlight for you. There's no contact between you and Mr. Caleb and then Paige. It says Caleb Morris, but isn't his last name Kavanaugh?
His last name is Morris Kavanaugh.
All right, well, anyways.
And he's got a hyphen last name.
I just want to note here that on this pretrial release form, it just says Caleb Morris. it should say Caleb Morris hyphen Kavanaugh, but you're not to have any contact. That means direct or indirect. Don't have Leanne reach out to them. Don't have anybody else send them a Facebook message, a text message, a TikToky message, or whatever. No contact. All right. Anything further, Mr. Denon? Anything further, Mr. Cherry?
Just that it inferred automatically the updated mailing address for Mr. Zalzman
Oh,
would be
yeah.
the Blodgett Road address.
Yes. Madam Clerk, did you get that? That's the 5.
All right, this is over. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just a nice little premiere in the middle of the day, just to get you guys excited for some court. Do you think the judge made the right ruling on this? You already know my opinion. I've stated it throughout the video. Seems like pretty cut and dry self-defense, but it's only one side of the story. He doesn't have the police reports. He doesn't have the story from the other people. So we don't know, but I don't know. Seems like he was telling the truth to me. He just seemed that story seemed honest. How about I say it that way? All right. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. If you disliked it, feel free to hit the dislike button. I mean, they both help. All right. That's it. Until next time, bye.
5350.
5350 North Blodgett on the felony information.
Great.
All right. Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. I've already taken care of people versus